Well, how's it going, everybody? Greg Scott Bailey. Welcome to my channel, and welcome to, I guess, episode 0 of Positively Entertaining with Greg Scott Bailey. All right, let's zoom in a little bit and let's work on some of these topics. Okay, well, obviously, I'm a geek. I'm a dork. I'm wearing a Star Trek shirt, and yeah, I've got a video game background going on. 7 Days to Die for my background. But hey, just wanted to say this is kind of like my first little test bed to try a kind of a talk show, talk about topics or something like that. I don't know where this is going to go, what's going to happen, but I'm going to count on you guys to give me your feedback. Let me know what you think. Um, Basically, if you've never been to my channel and this is the very first thing you've seen, welcome. Really appreciate you having me here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you're not liking it. Engagement is healthy for all the channels, and I don't mind if you break my heart with a thumbs down. But uh, I personally I tried getting into drawing comic books for a living 25 or so years ago. Didn't work out. Been working on kind of the geek and nerd angle for many years, but I never really kind of settled on one particular genre. Do I stick with comics? Do I stick with movies, anime, video games, all that stuff? I've got my hands in kind of like in little different aspects of everything. So, jack of all trades, master of none is kind of what I go by these days, or Mr. Spaghetti against the wall and see what happens, or Mr. 75%. Have you guys seen that video? So, what I thought I would do is I try to kind of step it up a little bit to talk about entertainment, news, and actual movies, TV shows, comic books, things I've read, watched, and kind of delved into a little bit more thoroughly lately. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Is we're kind of creating for now like a weekly show, and we'll see where we go from there. We'll stick with being recorded for now, and if we find a kind of a live format, we'll try to move over to something like that as well, depending on the support and how all that comes along. So, real quick, personal health for a lot of people that don't know, I've been trying to lose a little bit of weight here or there, trying to get a little bit more healthy. Much like a lot of other people working from home, I am very grateful and gracious that my job was able to be a work from home job. Not everybody had that opportunity during the pandemic. But during that time, I really got into my recluse mode and I didn't get out, didn't do much, didn't get a lot of vitamin D. I already have muscle and health issues anyways and fatigue issues anyways, and it really just nosedived my health these past few years. So I'm trying to get a lot of that caught up and updated and working on what I can. I walk at the park down about half a mile from here or so, and it at least gets me kind of moving a little bit. Then on top of that, I've been trying to cook foods instead of getting fast food or delivery, things of that nature. So financially and health wise, I'm trying to better myself there. And so the reason I bring some of that up is because a lot of what I'm trying to put together for my YouTube channel and what I do live on Twitch, YouTube, Kick, and X, I've been quad streaming on 4 different locations, is I've been trying to do all that stuff and I just don't have the energy to do everything I want to do when I'm already horrible, Mr. 75% at finishing projects that I want to finish. So I just bring up personal health just to kind of remind everybody that's new to my channel, to me, to who I am, that all of this is a continued work in progress, like a bunch of other content creators. We're all trying to do what we can with the time that we have on the top of our day jobs and all that. So that is me too. I am one of those content creators. So I appreciate you guys taking the time out to check out a video like this and just hear my points of view on things. But I also want to hear from you guys in the chat below on these topics. What do you think about whatever the topic is I bring up? I'm calling this positively entertaining though, and that moves me into kind of the theme and overall format. I'm trying to present maybe a more positive or upbeat kind of look at entertainment. There are a lot of channels out there that are very critical, whether they are justifiably critical or not. But they get labeled hate channels again, whether they are or are not. There are a lot of channels that are out there like that. My goal is not to get into the deep root analysis of why something didn't work. But there will be times where I will say, this is what I would have preferred that they did with this movie or this TV show or this storyline or whatever. There will be times where I will do that, but my overarching goal is to try to be as positive and uplifting about the entertainment that I talk about. And if you guys bring up something that I'm not interested in, I just purely am just not going to be interested. I'm not going to talk about it. But then that's your chance to get your channel going, your videos going, and you talk about something that you're into. So that's the way it works. That's the way it is. That's the way we're going to do this as much as possible. I'm going to try to stick with that format, and I'm counting on all of you again to comment down below and let me know your positively entertaining thoughts about the topics at hand. So, one of the first things I wanted to talk about, a movie I saw recently was Transformers 1. Now, I was not gonna go see Transformers 1. I actually kinda have been burnt out with the Transformers franchise a little bit. I really liked Bumblebee, with, Haley Steinfeld, I believe, and John Cena. I hate to put a laugh in there when I say John Cena. It's just I love how much fun that guy is having with all the projects he's having, so I'm not I know it's a cliche. I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing with him because I feel like I'm having fun along with his roles, his characters, from Peacemaker to characters like his character in Bumblebee. Anyways, off track a little bit. Transformers One. I saw some of the trailers and I thought, and then I didn't really see much. From anybody else that may or may not have seen it, didn't see any reviews. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and skip this one in theater. I'm not gonna watch it. Then the reviews started coming out. The actual reviews came out, and people were saying really good things about it. All right, you know what? And I was like, okay, it seems like this is a good time to go ahead and just step out for a movie. So I went and I checked out what was available, and I got in on the early screening, Wednesday screening at the Regal Theater here in the Atlanta area. Unbeknownst to me, I signed up for 40X, and if people don't know what that is, it's where the seats move and they spray mist and air in your face and all that stuff. Well, I've only done one other movie that way, and I did the same thing where I didn't realize I signed up for it, and it was Sonic 2. So I went and saw Sonic 2. Almost lost my lunch, both these movies. The seats, when they shake and they move, are crazy. There's one moment, I was telling people about this the other day. There's one moment where I pretty much was fighting and battling, getting back in my seat because it was knocking me out of my seat. And the hard part is I wasn't paying attention to the movie when that happened. So the 4DX experience is kind of cool. It's kind of neat that they do that stuff, but I think it's a little too much for me. But I think it's super cool that they have it in the first place. So I'm not a proponent against it. It just doesn't really work for me. Maybe if I get like the right movie, maybe it'll warm me over. Is that the right term? Maybe I'll warm up to it later. I honestly, I really liked the 2/3 of the movie itself. The middle and the end of the movie really won me over. Now the beginning of it was kind of rough, where you're getting to know the characters. Now I'm a Generation One fan of Transformers. I've seen some of the original story of Orion Pax, who becomes Optimus Prime from the original cartoon itself. And so I'm not a gatekeeper when it comes to something like this. I just when I watched their introduction to Optimus Prime and D16, who's Megatron later. Spoilers. Not really. They tell you in the commercials, trailers. So when I saw like the intro to these characters, it took some warming up to go through the story. Like their presentation of it didn't quite sit with me, and then it started building, and then it started building, and then I started seeing like the chemistry. Chris Hemsworth doing Orion Pax's voice, um, solid, loved it. Um, oh shoot, what's the name? Is it Brian Tyree Henry? Is that the name? Let me look it up so I'm actually accurate about this. Okay. Brian Tyree Henry. Yeah. So I'm looking it up real quick. Scarlett Johansson and Keegan Michael Key, right? Yeah. So those were the four like core voice actors. Steve Buscemi's in there, John Hamm, Lawrence Fishburne, and many others. Not to underscore any of the others, but the four core characters are who we follow. Um, the characters themselves were great. The story was great, and everything about like how they built up to what leads into Optimus Prime and Megatron made sense to me, and it worked for me. And you you really feel kind of like a little bit of an emotional journey that these characters go through. Now, interestingly enough, the trailers made it seem like this was just purely a kids movie by tone. Like I thought it was just going to be about these characters, but in, dare I say, a almost PG kind of setting. No, it gets serious. There's some serious undertones behind what leads these characters into developing who they are. It doesn't get like real rich with core and with story, but I think for anyone that's a Generation One fan, I think you're gonna like this movie. I think it's only honestly gonna win you over. And if it were up to me, I would go ahead and say this going forward. I somewhat enjoyed the Michael Bay movies, the live action ones. I was fine with Mark Wahlberg taking over, and the other gentleman. I'm horrible with names when I need to talk about stuff, but I'm always remembering names when it's like a pointless moment where I have to bring up trivia. Um, Point being is the live action movies like Haley Steinfeld and Bumblebee was great. I wish they had done another Bumblebee movie, even though it was kind of a weird little live action canon lore change a little bit. I don't know. So anyways, Transformers 1, I recommend it. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it, and I'd love to hear what you guys thought about it as well. So post in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on Transformers 1 if you have seen it, or if you haven't seen it and decided not to see it. What made you not decide to see it? Was it similar to what I was going to do? Did it seem like it wasn't appealing to you at first? So yeah, post in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on that topic. Next movie up I watched, the following day, after Transformers 1, was The Matrix 25th anniversary. Now, funny story is, I forgot I bought the tickets for it. The 25th anniversary is back in March, and the movie was being re-released on, in September. So, it caught me off guard, but, one of the, regulars in my live streams posted on Twitter and said, "Hey, again, you gonna see Matrix tomorrow?" Or oh crap! Opened up my app for Regal. I bought the ticket. All right. So I did get tickets to see the Matrix 25th anniversary. This is the 14th time I've seen it in the theaters. I was real excited. Like last time I did was mine might have been last year. Was the 13th time I had watched it, and I had to travel like north of Atlanta in an Uber, a really expensive Uber ride. There and an expensive one back just to go watch it. So this one, thankfully, was close to me this time. And, so I got in there and, I'm settled, I'm hyped, I'm excited, and there was a variety of people in there. A couple guys had not seen The Matrix before ever, let alone in the theater. So their reactions, I wanna say they're probably about half my age, they're in their early 20s maybe, and, a couple of the guys were kinda like, "What this was, hyped up," so I'm like, alright, I'm gonna let that go." Because, yes, at the time when The Matrix came out, this is like banger technology, like everything that they were doing with the movie was wonderful. And I still say some of it holds up today. It really does. It's what works really well for me, just to comment further on that topic, is the fact that there's some grain and grit and darkness to the movie, the set designs and the world that they immersed us in inside the matrix of the real world. You felt like it was lived in and livable, like everything was tangible and real, with everything that they put together. I think some of the later ones, it felt like it was polished up dirt. And again, keeping on the positivity, I do mean that as in, I think that was a misstep on some cases where some movies when they get sequels, and this I was also talking about on my live stream the other day. I think some sequels do get this unfortunate. We are aware of our franchise and our popularity. and we think about these things, these the world that the characters are living in, the characters themselves, what they're going to go through, and there becomes that meta universe breaking moment where some things are done in sequels and further movies of franchises that your self-awareness shows in your writing and your acting and your directing, and I think the audience can subconsciously see that. And I think while The Matrix, Reloaded, I think wins a lot of people over still, Matrix, Revolutions, the 3rd one, and then the 4th one, like, really, like, people are just kinda like, "Nah, I'm checked out," it just doesn't work for people. It works for me. I like all of them. So anyways, watching the original, Matrix again for the 14th time, it is now 2 movie screenings higher than my second watched, which is Avatar, the first Avatar movie. The James Cameron Avatar, not the Airbender. You nerds are getting ready to type, I just know you are. I love the Avatar movies, I do, and I do enjoy Avatar: The Last Airbender. So we can love all of it, we don't have to take sides. But yeah, so with The Matrix, it was great to rewatch it. There was a few more things that I caught this time around. The audio was a little off in the theater. The action and effects was too loud and the music was too low. So I don't know what was up with the audio on that. They did put it in one of the extra smaller screen rooms, so theaters. So it probably suffers from a little bit of a just not really equalized and stabilized. Other people that are audio technicians will know more about this than me, but, post in the comments below if you wanna correct me on that. On what I'm trying to get at is it just didn't feel like it was properly calibrated for audio. It's still enjoyable, to watch, but because of that too, I ended up catching a couple more, things in the movie that even after all these years, after 25 years, I didn't catch before. Subtle little audio dialogue moments that I didn't normally catch before, so that was kind of nice. Um, as I watched this movie again, and you're sitting in a theater and you're trying to focus on just the movie, you're not at home pulling up your phone or doing anything like that. As I watched it again, I sat there and I'm still trying to mull over what is it really that I really enjoy about The Matrix, you know? Um, and the one thing that always stands out to me is the line about not believing in fate, that I don't like to believe that somebody else is in control of my destiny. And I think that really speaks to me a lot. Now, why? I'll have to self-analyze that, and maybe I'll go into a video about it later. There is something really innate about that. I don't think I'm some hacker, programmer guy that's going to save the world, the universe, or something like that. But there is part of me that kind of like loves the character of Neo as it is a person that strives to want to be something, but doesn't know what he wants to be or what wants to do in his life or with his life, and ultimately decisions will lead him towards something in his life. Like he could have easily just have said, "No, I'm not interested," and then he just lives the rest of his life in the Matrix, probably questioning his life the whole time, but he lives the rest of his life in the Matrix without ever having knowing the full truth. That is possible. There's probably hundreds of other people that went through that as well. So it's one of those things that I always kind of mull over or think over, about how we follow these stories about these heroes or the protagonist, about how their decision ultimately leads them into this grandiose story that they go through. The adventures that they go on, and it makes sense because if they didn't, then there would be no story and it'd be over in 5 minutes, right? So, you want to know what the Matrix is? No. Okay. Movie over. So, watching the Matrix 25th anniversary was really great. However, there were two things about Transformers One and the Matrix that I wanted to bring up real quick, which is theater etiquette. So, this topic, theater etiquette. I try not to categorize or put a lot of people into an assumption category, a stereotype. I don't want to say that just because somebody is half my age, they immediately don't understand things like theater etiquette or what is appropriate or not appropriate in an audience environment, um, aka read the room, and one of those things about that is theater etiquette when it comes to cell phones and talking and things of that nature. When I go to a movie, I am conscious and aware that there are other people that are in this room with me watching a movie. These are people I don't know. I'm not friends with them. They're not my family. They're not my lover. Whatever. Um, they're not somebody that I know personally. So now I have to get along with these unknown people for 90 minutes, 120 minutes, whatever. Right? The length of the movie. And sometimes you do find when you go to a movie, you find like-minded individuals. They enjoyed this scene and they're talking about it after the credits are rolling. And you overhear, I was like, oh, yeah, I like that too. That was great. you know? Um, so, yeah, so things like that are pretty cool, I think, when you find camaraderie and others, like things that you get along with others about. But I join the batch of film fans in the plea of, "Please turn off your cell phones." And I don't just mean put it on silent. Turn the screen off, turn it upside down. Give yourself 90 to 120 minutes of peace and quiet, to just watch a movie and enjoy it. In both these screenings and Transformers 1 especially, there were instances of cell phone usage that were distracting to me. And these are full on like I'm looking down and I'm seeing someone on their phone straight up putting information into Instagram. I can see it that clearly. I don't want to, but you could see it that clearly. You see the Instagram symbol, you see them going through photos, whatever. And I'm like, dude, if you're bored, you can leave. If this 12 to $20 or more that you spent for a movie isn't working for you, go to the bar across the street and and get on your phone. You could spend the same amount of money there and still be on your phone. Anyways, so there was instances of cell phone usage like that. The one in Transformers one was the most egregious, and this one was ridiculous. This this man, this woman, and their kid come in about half an hour late. I don't know how far into the movie it really was, but they're about a half an hour late, let's say. And this again, this is 4DX, so the seats are moving, action's going on, so they're having to get in, and they've got all their like their food and their snacks and everything like that. And the guy has his cell phone, and I'm like, okay, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. He's got to sit down. Maybe he's going to turn it into airplane mode or turn off put it in silent. No, no, he's conducting some sort of business. Him and the wife are talking about it, and they're saying, like, "Hey, yeah, do we want to do this? Do we want?" I'm just like, really? You really want to do that? Now you paid ungodly amounts of money for 40X screenings. Sorry, Transformers One, but it also was a lot of money for that ticket. Sorry, Regal. But point being is like you've set aside time in your afternoon to take your kid to see a movie, and you can't get off your phone. You can't show up on time. That's up to them. I'm bad at that for some things too. So but the point being is, it's just like all these things started stacking up against them, and the biggest thing was that they wanted to do some sort of business on the phone, and so the guy I think eventually saw that I was getting annoyed. Somebody else was saying something behind me about it, and so he decides to lift up his shirt, put the phone underneath his shirt, and then like hold his shirt open while his other hand's under his shirt, and he's working the buttons and everything. He has a white shirt on. So the screen is glowing his whole shirt. And I'm just kinda like, "Okay, I'm just gonna pay attention to the movie." I'm just because in all truthfulness, I could tell also by the tone of these 2 that had I said something, had I been direct about it, it would have led to a fight and, verbally, I'm hopefully not physically. I can't I can't fight people. But you know what I mean? It's like you're gonna make a scene bigger than it is, and so at that point, I decided to go ahead and let it go. And besides, with all the action and everything like that, I was kind of able to just do what I can to try to watch the movie, and I ended up enjoying the movie. The last half hour of the movie, they ended up shutting up anyways. I think they just heard too many people grumbling and moaning about them. Anyways, but that's just my plea to you, folks that are going to watch a movie in a theater. You know, there are moments where laughter is warranted, gasping, reacting. Sometimes we as individuals, we react to things and it is just our way of reacting. And I never try to get after anybody for that. No, it's that's not a problem. My problem is if you're specifically, yeah, dude, oh no, man, did you hear this? Oh god, oh yeah, this was, oh, you know, no, just watch the movie, especially during those dialogue moments where a character is explaining, giving exposition about the story. Yeah, so this is probably the part where they're going exposition, and this is the part where they're going to explain everything. But most everybody can't understand it because I'm talking to you. Is what I feel like those moments are. So yeah, cell phones, man, turn them off. Enjoy 90 minutes to 120 minutes of peace and quiet without your cell phone. Enjoy a movie without turning and having to explain it to your buddy. Just enjoy. I mean, what are you paying your ticket price for anyways, right? And I sure as heck am not paying that ticket price to listen to you or watch your cell phone while you're watching the movie. All right, so we're going to get into a couple more topics and wrap this up here. Agatha All Along. First two episodes came out. I've been looking forward to this because I had a great time with WandaVision. For those that don't know, this is on Disney Plus. This is extended character from the WandaVision storyline. It is about a comic book character called Agatha Harkness. So I think if you have not seen WandaVision, I think you'll be just fine diving right in. It has its own little mystery, something that's going on. There is some background, subtle clues about some things that are connected, both with WandaVision, with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. But there's not like a billion Easter eggs about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think you can go in cold and watch this. And I would like to hear if you have not seen WandaVision or Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but you have seen the first two episodes of Agatha All Along, post in the comments below to let me know what you think about the show so far. For me, I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. Catherine Hahn is just wonderful as Agatha Harkness, and the starting of the show. I'm not going to say any spoilers, but the starting kind of mystery of trying to figure things out in the town of Westview all this time later is really kind of a nice little hook. And then characters start getting introduced that you're questioning, like who are they really, and are they going to end up being friend or foe throughout this whole storyline. The character of Agatha going through her journey, admittedly, I'm hoping that I don't know much about the character from the comic books. I know that the character was a governess or kind of a nanny once in a while to Franklin Richards, Reed and Sue Richards' kids from the Fantastic Four. So Franklin and Valeria probably. I don't know much about the last 20 years of the Fantastic Four comics, so I don't know if she's been brought back in that incarnation. But in previous instances, I've seen her watching Franklin Richards in the comic books for the Fantastic Four. So part of me is hoping that this character is going to learn the errors of their ways and maybe become somewhat of an anti-hero kind of a character. So we'll see how that goes for the character. The fun thing about it is there is kind of a nice little mystery tone to the show that I think is going to lead us on another week to week basis of, oh, but what if this is this? What if that is that? The great thing about WandaVision was the fact that each week we were speculating, sometimes in grand design, about things that could be going on, and they weren't as big as they actually were. It was us, the audience, that was making it a little too extreme. but it was fun. It was fun to speculate. It was fun to talk about. New Rock Stars had some really great videos on it. Real Rejects, John Campia, all these guys had really fun like after shows and commentary, and it built week to week. And I'm hoping that a lot of these streaming services start realizing that the week to week model is really a good hook. If you go week to week, you now have people talking about it weekly, and somebody might say, "You know what? Okay, fine. I'm going to sign up for Disney Plus. I'm going to sign up for Netflix. I'm going to sign up for Hulu, whatever." And I think that that's one of the points. It's not one of the main points, but it's one of the points that I think brings people into these services because now they got to rely on money on subscription basis, not on advertisers, which it's not 100% true now that we're getting ads on some of these places. But so. Um, the show itself is starting off good, I think, with 2 episodes. I think it's only 8 altogether. I'll have to stand corrected on that if I'm wrong. But if that's the case, then we got at least another 6 more weeks of episodes. So I look forward to the next episode, seeing what happens with the characters. I don't want to spoil it. I just wanted to say that it has been enjoyable so far, and I look forward to seeing what happens with the rest of the story. Next up is the Penguin. So we have a nice little back-to-back Marvel and then DC situation. So the Penguin is um, Colin Farrell. I okay, so I enjoyed the Batman, and I enjoyed Colin Farrell as Oz as the Penguin in the Batman. But I didn't really like know like interesting like why would they want to do like an HBO series at the time, now it's Max or whatever. So why would they want to do a show like that? So then the first episode comes out and I'm sitting there going, "Oh, that's why." Because they have this fun crime drama mafia kind of like back end story that they're wanting to tell. And Colin Farrell and the way he portrays Penguin in a much more grounded environment. There's not real mystical stuff going on here. There's not aliens like Superman. There's not magicians like Zatanna or something like that. This is grounded Batman universe stuff. But it's still one of those things that like it has this crime gritty drama. It's got humor when it needs humor moments to break up the tension, and then when it needs to get serious, does it get serious? Holy crap. They don't shy away from some graphic moments in there, but they don't get gratuitous for the sake of see, we can get gratuitous. It seems like it was earned. A lot of the serious stuff that happens in there feels earned. So I'm really enjoying it so far. Similar with Agatha All Along. I don't want to spoil it, of course, but if you guys haven't seen The Penguin, I definitely recommend it. This one also maybe about 8 episodes or so. But from what I understand, similar again to Agatha, is that you could see this without having really watched The Batman, but it can have some connective moments from that movie into this show. It basically starts shortly after the events of the movie, The Batman, and it could possibly have some things that might tie into the Batman 2, whatever they're going to call it. A friendly reminder, too, folks, that the Batman, the Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves directed The Batman, is not connected to the upcoming DC Universe movies that are being rebooted by James Gunn and Peter Safran, the now new presidents of DC Studios, newly formed studios that Warner Brothers Discovery have put together to kind of reboot the whole DC franchise. I'm very optimistic about that. While there's going to be a cartoon coming out soon, Creature Commandos, to kind of be their first thing that they put out, the very first official movie is going to be Superman, and that is going to be next July, 2025. So I look forward to it. I honestly think James Gunn's got a great take on a lot of things, not just comic book, but storytelling wise. And I think you're gonna see a part of James Gunn that people haven't really seen before yet. Now we all know that he's got his raunchy side. He's got his crude humor kind of side. But the thing that I think a lot of people really subconsciously they don't realize that subconsciously they see is the heart of the stories of the characters of the journey that these beings of extraordinary either powers or abilities or situations go through. And I echo like John Campia on this one, where all you have to do is go to see the Suicide Squad, James Gunn's the Suicide Squad, and you watch someone like King Shark. But you watch a shark character sitting in a bus, looking out a window and longing for a life that he's never going to have when he sees two people in love and talking to each other on the street. You see it in the freaking eyes of this character. Like that is things that James Gunn does, and I think you're going to see a lot of that in Superman, as well as obviously the action and the build up to the character that we all do love and adore. That is Kal-El, Clark Kent, Superman. So I look forward to seeing where all that goes. But before that happens, and before the DCU kicks off, I do recommend this Elseworlds TV show, The Penguin, on Max. Also, real quick recap. I have been watching Rings of Power. I enjoyed that series on Amazon. First season, I enjoyed it. A lot of other people didn't. However, I think they stepped it up. They took some notes from what everybody was saying about the first season, and they've kind of kicked it up a little bit on the second season. I still think it's a little bit slow as far as pacing and storytelling goes for audiences. It's working for me though. I'm wanting to just live in the world of Middle Earth, and I'm wanting to experience it, even in this time period that is notes and appendices and subtle story backstory and other novels or whatever that Tolkien did. I'm not as very learned on Tolkien as others, but to me, I'm enjoying these characters, finding out who they are, what they're about, and what they're going to develop into. And I'm interested in what Amazon's adapting and going towards with this story. So yeah, Rings of Power season 2. It's 5 episodes in. It might be 6th episode by the time I recorded this. So I've got at least an episode I think to watch to catch up on. Just gotta get time to watch all this stuff. So yeah, if you haven't seen Rings of Power season 2 yet, it's about a little more than halfway through. I recommend it. It's been enjoyable. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan, I do think you're gonna enjoy it. I think you're gonna enjoy as long as you step out of the Frodo Bilbo era and allow yourself to watch these characters in another time period before the actual Lord of the Rings Hobbit story happens. So I recommend it. Let me know your thoughts if you've watched it too. Post down in the comments below how you are liking or maybe even disliking Rings of Power, but keep it positively entertaining. And last but not least, I'm going to be doing rewatch videos of Star Trek: The Original Series. A couple other people have been asking where are they at, where are they at, where are they at. So I was like, okay, I'm working on them, working on them. I was originally going to do kind of slideshow format, but I'm actually going to try to do rewatch where we'll have bits and pieces of the episode up and in my reaction and commentary as I'm watching it. If I do it right and I record my entire watch and commentary, I have to do it in a way to where I'm not showing the entire episode. I don't break terms of service for YouTube, but then I'm going to have the entire commentary of the entire episodes available for my Patreon supporters so that you can watch along. You basically start it when I started, and we'll go through the motions of the episode. And then what I post on YouTube for pretty much everybody for public will end up being the rewatch review version that I'm putting together. So right now I'm working on that format. I'm trying to do what I can to make sure it doesn't break terms of service, that it becomes transferable and an actual fair use situation. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm starting off with Star Trek: The Original Series. I'm moving on to the Next Generation, and then Deep Space Nine, Voyager, so on and so forth. And it's going to take many years to do all of this. This is not going to be happening on a daily basis, but it's going to be my TV show set of shows that I'm watching and putting out review episodes every now and then. And if those go well, then we'll end up starting to do some of those rewatch reviews or first time watches with movies I haven't seen before, things of that nature. So we'll find a few of those if the channel ends up enjoying it. The only way I know that is if you guys end up doing those thumbs ups and you post in the comments below and you let me know that these are things that you want to see. So wrapping up here, really appreciate you guys coming out for this first little walkthrough episode of Positively Entertaining with Greg Scott Bailey. I'm not so sure about the with Greg Scott Bailey part, and I'll go into a story about that on another note, another time. But yeah, thanks for coming out. I really appreciate you guys checking out this video, and I hope to see you on the next one down the road. Until then, we'll see you on the next adventure. Alrighty, bye bye.